between the tape at the Wessex League and I got a wicked start, but James in the blue and red kit here went out like he was shot out of a bloody cannon. Does he realise this race is 1 hour long? I do not think so. He's gone out like absolute Usain Bolt. Look at the gap he got straight away. I was genuinely putting out the max power I could hold up that climb. A couple of the Venter boys come round me, Oscar and Bobby, to try and shut that gap down straight away. But honestly, that was the fastest start I've ever seen from anyone in a cyclocross race. And I was just about had enough brain cells not to try and go with it. You'll see in a second the gap gets closed down. That was a heroic start. That's the sort of thing I'd have done if I was 10 years younger, but your boy knows not to do things like that. But honestly, the start of this race was fast. Courses like this do not suit me. They're dry, they're fast, they're on the power. You need mega watts to be at the front of this race. So I was literally thinking to myself, just hold on for dear life. Every time you're going up these little climbs, it's big power just to get yourself up there and to try and hold the wheel. So this course basically drags uphill for this first section, goes down a descent and then back up the hill again. I think we've done like over 400 meters of climbing in this race, and I also set a new FTP because we were just on the gas so much. So it was a good leg day. Ignore the heart rate a bit, it does catch up in a minute. I actually do have my heart rate strap on for this. I'm not an absolute mutant doing 115 beats per minute, but the boys at the front, so Oscar's on the front now, and he was just setting a strong pace, and I wanted to get over to them, but honestly, like, even trying to get round Bobby in front of me was just so difficult because the speed was so high, and they were like battling it out at the front, keeping the pace high, and there was a train of riders behind me. Honestly, you can see everyone over to the left. So this is the descent now, and I cannot wait until we get some mud just to slow everyone down. This is essentially a grass crit for me, and if you've got like a lot of power, a lot good watts per kilo around this course, you're going to be absolutely pinging. If you haven't, there's nowhere to bloody hide. But yeah, you can see the descent here. It was super fast. I think I hit my handlebars on the tape then, but Bobby was getting it all over the place and I was trying to go round him, and I just snuck round here. The problem was this little gap that had opened up, I just didn't quite have the minerals to get all the way over. I think I get pretty close, but when this first lap, there's just honestly, in any cross race, there's nowhere to hide. So you can see that gap that opened up, and it was because Bobby made a little mistake. I then had to go round him, and then I'm absolutely burning matches up this little rise trying to get on their wheel, because once the gap opens, you're essentially not getting any draft from them as well. And I know there's not a huge amount of drafting in cyclocross, but when you're going at these speeds, with I didn't put speed on the screen, but we're doing like enough speed here to where drafting makes a difference, and I am literally giving it beans, and I cannot close that gap down. These boys are pinging. And I thought to myself, hopefully when I get into this little twisty section, I'll be able to shut it down. But I took these corners horribly. And then when we got on the power again, you can see James up that's in the lead was really good on the techie stuff. But I think he burnt his biggest match off the start line. So mad respect for that. Look, and you can see I'm just about to get on, and then we start going uphill again. And we were just on the gas, the spikes out of the corner to get back up to speed, and then the power you needed to hold. It was way over threshold, constantly over threshold, and I've got a train of people behind me ready to just absolutely pounce as soon as that gap opens up again to go round and shut it down. But look at this again, like 300 watts, and I'm not even able to close that gap. Every little corner on this climb, spike again, and it's something I'm going to be working on for the next couple of races. I said to the wife today that the goal is that before I turn 40 and move into the vet 40s, which is a solid 8 years, I am going to win one of these bloody Wessex League races. I'm putting it out there now. If you don't put your goals out there, they're never going to happen. So that is the goal. I'm going to get back training next week. Next week, so that I am pinging at some point in the future. But yeah, we hit this descent now, and look, you can just see I was seconds away from being on their wheel, but I couldn't quite make it happen. And every time I got close, the pace picked up again, and I was suffering like a dog. I was trying to go as fast as I could down this descent to try and get back on them and through the little weavy section, because I knew that when we got back to the start straight that was up this long horrible drag, I was going to really struggle for power. One thing I've noticed this year, I've been doing a lot of running because it's time efficient. The problem is my cardiovascular's there, but just my leg power, my leg strength, being able to put the watts through the bike is not there. So I'm physically probably as fit as I've ever been. I like trained for a marathon, blah blah blah. But when it comes to putting down power through the pedals, the most important thing is riding your bloody bike. It's as simple as that. Get on your bike, do the hours, do the time, do the sessions, and you get fast. So when we come out this corner here, you can see the gap started to open up now, and I'm doing good watts right now, and every man and his dog comes round me as if I'm not even moving. Look, they're all they're attacking, they're bridging over, and I'm trying to like up the watts even more to go with it, and I'm just like, I can't do it, I've got nothing, I'm absolutely Ian Beale, and everyone goes past, and the watts just dropped off all of a sudden over that top bit. And again, like, I was suffering now. The watts just had to drop because that was a big effort for me, way over threshold VO2 max. Everyone's trying to bridge over, and I'm just thinking to myself, I'm in a big hole right now, and we still have 53 minutes of racing. So yet again, another rider comes around me, and honestly the watts have dropped now because I was in a big hole, and it was like I wanted to be in that bit of action at the front, and I felt like I was strong enough, but I knew that I needed to just rein it in a little bit, otherwise the wheels were going to completely fall off because the pace was just high. There's no two ways about it. You can see I'm trying to bridge back onto this group ahead, and I get pretty close to it on the downhill sections where I was struggling, the climbs. There's no, if you don't have the power on a course like this, there is honestly nowhere to hide. It's not like you're getting off, you're running. So I'm sitting in, I think I'm just inside the top 10 right now, and I am hanging on for dear life. We've jumped in, we're like halfway round. You can see every halfway round lap 2 now, you can see the front group has started to form. There was about 6 riders in the front group just up ahead. They're not a million miles away, but in a cross race, when they're like a couple of corners ahead, it is way further than you think, and that gap is really hard to close. But I managed to move back up a slot here. You can see Bobby in front in the Venter kit. I was trying to go with his wheel, but he was super strong on these climbs. But we have a wicked little battle coming up in a second. So in a minute, he absolutely parks it on fresh air. I don't even know how he crashed, but we're coming up to that section now. So around here, I managed to get back past him because you can't park there, ladies and gentlemen. He's managed to crash on a blade of grass, I think. But we then get into an absolute wicked battle, and this is where the race truly started for me. We were battling for like 8th or 9th. I managed to hold him off for about 20 minutes, and then he came past me like a bloody steam train, and there was honestly nothing I could do about it. He put such a gap into me just here. So I'd managed to hold him, keep him at bay for about 20 minutes, and the Bobby fan club were absolutely going nuts. Every corner I was going around, they were like, "Go Bobby, go Bobby!" God, all I wanted was one cheer. But honestly, it was a matter of just giving it beans now. We are coming up to, I think, 1 lap to go as we go through in a second, and I'm slowly closing the gap back down to him. I just did not give up, and eventually I was back on his wheel, and now it was a dogfight to the finish. So we had a lap and a half now, and I knew that if it came down to a straight line sprint up that back bit, you can see he's got half the course in his rear wheel, but what you will notice is he is super strong in a straight line, in a sprint, but not so good on the descents. You can see if you look at his lines here, you're just like, I really wanted to get past him, but I just thought, if I go past him, am I going to take both of us out? But he was taking some questionable lines through these corners. So in my head now, I'm thinking, we're coming into one lap to go. Where am I going to be able to beat him? It's not in a sprint, I can tell you that, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be at the top of the last climb. I need to be in the lead and pushing the pace on the descent. So you see, even up the drag here coming into the final lap, he's put a bit of a gap into me. I'm not too panicked. I'm a little bit panicked, I'm not going to lie, but I did manage to shut the gap down. You can see the gap by the top of the climb that he had on me. He's got some serious power, but thankfully he was absolutely terrible round a corner. No offence if he watches this. So I managed to get back on his wheel, and now I played dirty. I was disgustingly dirty in this race. I'm not going to lie to you. If I had an Insta360 camera which could show me absolutely chopping Bobby, it would have been unbelievable footage. But it's a dogfight, and like they say, if you ain't rubbing, you ain't racing. And right now I'm thinking, at the bottom of this hill, I need to get into the lead. So we come round past pits, and I just totally chop him, dive bomb him into this corner and stick him in the tape. You got to do what you got to do, ladies and gentlemen. And now, right now, he was trying so hard to get back past me, but I know I needed to be at the top. This next climb, I needed to be in the lead. So if you watch my line into this next corner, he tries to come round the outside of me, and I just play dirty and stick him in the tape again. Look how wide I go. Bosh, he's in the tape. Get in there, Georgie boy. It's dirty, but it's got to be done. And he tries to do it again round here, so back, straight out. I'm basically just running wide at every corner. He tries to do it on this corner as well. So I run wide, stick him in the tape, absolutely get the elbow sharp. I managed to hold him off and get into this top bit of the descent first. So now I know I've just got to give it full beans down this descent and try and put a gap into him, because your boy is going to struggle in a straight line in a sprint finish. So I'm absolutely on the rivet, giving it everything I've got. Coming through this little twisty section, I only had like a tiny little gap, but I literally couldn't have pushed this section any faster. I was almost going to make a mistake. I come out of this corner and realised I probably only had like 5 metres on him, and I was like, oh no, the pain of a sprint finish. And I knew I was going to have to go early and just absolutely sell my soul. So this is the biggest sprint I've ever done in my life. I come out this bottom corner and I just pinged it straight away. I was like, my only chance is if I can hold like this sort of watts for 30 seconds. And I was absolutely burying myself right now. I've never done a sprint this good in my life. We're coming up to, and he goes past me. What an absolute nightmare. Fair play to Bobby. Absolutely wicked race. I hope you enjoyed the footage, and hopefully I can find a better sprint next time, and I'll catch you in the next video.